In this video, I will help you release tightness in the inner thighs that doesn't involve stretching. I will share my top 3 movements for lengthening and reducing tightness in the inner thighs, as well as show you a little fun trick you can use in your yoga practice. Hi, I'm Lenore, and I help people reduce stiffness and pain through increasing their body awareness, because you can't change what you're not aware of. This helps people be more functional so they can continue to do the activities they love. All right, we're talking inner hips or inner thighs now, and the action of that is called adduction, which is bringing the legs towards each other. That's squeezing of the thighs in. Okay, so to create some awareness of your inner hips or inner thighs, we're going to require a block. So lie on your back with your knees bent, and take the block and bring it in between your thighs about midway. Take your hands into your hip crease, and you're just monitoring your hip crease here to make sure that the hip flexors are not firing. If you need to know what the hip flexors are, you can just take one hand into your hip crease, lift the foot up, and you should feel a muscle pop into your hand. Those are your hip flexors. We don't want them firing for this one. So this is a really simple movement. You're just going to hug the block with your legs and then gently release that. So this is using your inner thighs, both contracting and then releasing. And we're watching for compensatory patterns such as hip flexors firing, belly muscles gripping, jaw clenching, back arching, anything like that. We're just checking. This is just an awareness if we can keep our hip inner thighs working and just them working. And then release the block. The other movement we can do is keep your pelvis quiet and allow your left knee to fall slowly and with control out to the left. The pelvis stays quiet, so you might want to roll and tip to the left. We want to maintain the pelvis and also keep this other leg, your right leg, quiet. And then slowly start to bring the leg up. By doing it slowly, you will actually feel your inner thigh muscles working until the foot is back to standing. Okay, so this is a slow release out, is called an eccentric contraction. You're using your inner thigh muscles, but less and less and less. This helps actually lengthen them. You might feel some jumpiness and jerkiness as you do this, and that just means there's a little bit of tightness in that area, and then you'll come back up. You'll want to do that for the other side, and it might be different in the other side. After you've done that side, you can then do them together. So you can let both knees slowly fall out with control. Just let your feet, you're just rolling onto the outer edges of your feet, so don't move the feet. And then bring them both back up together. So notice here any hip flexors firing, any belly gripping and helping, the back wanting to arch, the jaw wanting to clench, anything like that. We want to keep all those quiet and only use the inner thighs. All right. So what you might notice is that your range starts to grow. Your knees are able to fall out further than they did in the first place. You can also extend the legs and just notice the sensation of your hips after doing that. Now bring your right ankle over your left knee. Bring your hand on the inside of your knee, and what you're going to do here is pull your knee into your hand, and your hand will stop that. When you do that, you should feel your inner right thighs working, and then start to slowly ease off on that knee pushing in, and the knee will move away from the chest. So it's a small movement. Again, so pull your knee in, stop it with your hand until you feel your inner thigh muscles working, and then slowly release that back out. So do that a few times, pushing the knee in, slowly releasing. And then you can uncross, straighten the legs and get a sense of how that feels in that leg versus the other. And then you can do the other side in. So let's start exploring that with some yoga poses. You can take a block for this, it would be really helpful. And you're going to bring the block in between your thighs like so. So the idea is that we're hugging the block and thus engaging the inner thigh muscles. So you can come and actually do a forward fold here. You're going to hug the block. A little bit of internal rotation is if you're trying to press the block back like a Pez dispenser. And then you can come back up. You can do a similar thing in chair pose, which is come into your chair pose and use the block as a way to find and engage your inner thighs. Bring your arms up if you like. You could even do a flow by coming into your forward fold from there, continuing to hug the block and halfway lift. And I think you get the idea. If we come into our warrior two pose, we can also activate the inner thighs here. By drawing the feet towards each other, you will feel the back leg, the inner thigh of the back leg activate. And then you can come into your warrior two from there. You can also use that with a wide-legged forward fold. So here, draw your feet towards each other, squeeze the feet towards each other and feel the inner thighs working here. And then you can come into your forward fold. Continue drawing the feet towards each other. And then come on up. Here's a fun little before and after that you can try for your inner thighs. So come into bound angle. You bring the soles of your feet together. You can hold the ankles or the feet and just get an idea of how far your knees fall out. You can use like a block as a way to measure if you like, to see how far they fall. And then just put the block out of the way. So what you're going to do here is we're going to activate the inner thighs. So you can bring your arms out like so and pull the knees into your arms, and your arms are going to resist. What you'll feel here is your inner thigh muscles working. So just hold this for a little while. Take 3 breaths. We're practicing using the muscles to bring integrity to them. And one more breath like this. Keep pulling the knees into the arms. And then you can let that go. So now just notice what difference that made. If you feel like your knees have fallen out a little bit, you can use your little measurement and see I can't put this block under my leg anymore. So another thing you can do is come into your forward fold. So sitting with the legs extended, take your block and bring it in between your thighs about midway. And what you're going to be doing here is hugging the block and a little bit of internal rotation as if you're trying to pull the block closer to the floor. So in this position, you can hold that and breathe. Keep hugging the block. You can even come forward a little bit if you like. You'll be limited by the block here as to how far you come. You can use the strap here as well. But come and keep hugging that block. As you breathe, you might feel some shaking. That's correct. That means that muscle's working. And then you can come out of that. Take the block away and then return to your bound angle pose and see if that has changed even more. So we're definitely getting lower in the hips, which you might be able to see. So to further release the inner thighs, we can do an opposing action, which is engage the outer hip muscles. And so how you do that is you press the knees down towards the floor, away from each other, and the outer hip muscles will make that happen. What this does, the outer hips are an opposing muscle group to the inner hips, and when one is contracted, the other naturally releases, which is called reciprocal inhibition. So if you hold that for a few breaths, obviously the legs are wider because the outer hips are making this happen, but then relax that, you will notice that your hips have fallen even further. Kind of fun. If you've enjoyed this video and found it helpful, please give me a like or consider subscribing to my channel. I look forward to sharing with you soon.